Welcome to this episode of Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, a podcast in which we get to know the leadership development journey of great leaders and also how mentorship has really impacted their growth and effectiveness in leadership. My name is Dr. Michael Koku. I'm your host, and I'm glad to have today as a guest one of our team leaders in the LAM Global community, Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu. How are you, Dr. B? How are you doing today?
Hello, Dr. Koku. How are you? Hello to your
Oh,
listeners as well. I am doing
that's
fantastic. Thank
awesome.
God
Yeah.
it's a
Mm.
weekend.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Wow. Yeah. So first of all, we like people to know who our guest is. And I believe the best person that can introduce our guest is themselves. So just talk about yourself. Just who is Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu?
Awesome. I'm a person of faith. I wear many hats. I'm a mother, a board certified pediatrician, and serial entrepreneur, as I like to tell people. I own real estate, do all kind of different businesses. And currently, I serve as a medical director at a managed care organization. But my passion, my absolute passion, is coaching and speaking and training people, helping people to unleash their potential as a John Maxwell certified speaker, coach, and trainer.
Wow, that was beautiful. I like that word potential that you talk about. Because when we hear potential, it's something that really inspires me. And, because when people discover their potential, they can be the same again. Potential talks about unused power, what we could be that we are not yet. One of the books that have changed my life is Developing the Leader Within You. And Dr. John Maxwell said, until they wrote that book, many people thought being leadership is a lottery thing. That, oh man, since I didn't win the lottery, I'm a follower. But when people saw that developing the leader within you, that means everybody realized that, oh, so I have leadership within me. So that has triggered me to come up with a concept that says, and I call it LIFE. I love acronyms, LIFE. Leadership is for everybody. Leadership is for everyone.
It really, it really
Yeah.
is.
Leadership is for everyone. And I'll be making the title of this podcast. Leadership is for everyone because I want everyone to know as you listen to us right now that it's for you. Stop looking at yourself as a follower. You are a leader. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And now the first question I'm going to ask you, Dr.
Can
B.
I jump right in before you ask the
Yeah,
question?
sure. Jump right in. Jump right in. Yeah,
This
jump
is
right in.
so interesting that you talk about developing the leader within you 2.0 because I just finished a 5-week, what we call a round table. It's a mastermind with
Mm,
my church where we facilitated on developing the leader within you 2.0. And on the last week, one of the things that we get people to do is to do a short presentation to say
mm,
what inspired you, what can you apply, what can you change, who can you empower.
mm.
And what was your major takeaway? What was your key takeaway? And the key takeaway we had 15 participants. For 13 out of the 15 was, I didn't know I could grow as a leader. And then I've always thought that leadership was a title.
Mm,
That was amazing.
mm,
Amazing.
and it's so true because leadership is not in position, it's in disposition.
I love that.
Leadership is not in occupying a seat, it's accomplishing an outstanding feat. Leadership is not about wearing a title, it's all about adding value. So if we see leadership that way, it helps us to realize that leadership is all about responsibility. So now, from that book, Developing the Leader Within You, we are now aware that everyone has the leadership potential. So the
Potential.
question is, how did you discover your own leadership potential? At what age, at what time in your life that you become aware that, wow, I have this leadership within me, that you discover that potential inside of you. At what point did it happen and how did it happen? Thank you.
Gosh, I was too old for for starters when I discovered that. But when I look back, I didn't know that's what it was called. I'm the first of five.
Mm,
My father died when I was 9, and my youngest brother was 1. We're all adults now. And in my culture, as the oldest, my mom had to go out to work, so I had to take care of everyone. So that
mm,
was a leadership role. So I knew I was the firstborn,
mm,
and I held that title, and it wielded a lot of power.
mm,
And then through my journey from growing up, owning my own private practice. I'm a board certified pediatrician, owning my own private practice, leaving
mm,
that. So I thought I was a leader then because it was my clinic and I told everyone what they were going to do. And they did
mm,
it. And then of course now I'm working for an organization. I didn't really realize, well, I just thought leadership was a title. And
mm,
then about 2 years ago, that's why I said too long, it got this
mm,
old and gray-headed. I came across developing the leader within you 2.0, joined the John Maxwell team, met you, and it was just like a whole new world open up. For the first time, I realized that leadership can be taught, that leadership is not a title,
mm,
that it's, as you mentioned,
mm,
first of all, knowing my value, knowing
mm.
who I am,
Yeah.
and then adding value to other people.
Mm, mm. That's awesome. And I really like the way you break it down. For a long time, I've been doing a lot of research. I do research a lot. And I've been working on this concept. Like I said, leadership is for everyone.
Mhm.
Because when I meet people, I like to remind them of the uniqueness. Because a lot of people, they are more aware of their weakness, what they can
Yeah.
do well,
Oh gosh,
than
same.
their strength. So they think that they need to work hard on what they can do well, which is their weakness. And if you're going to work on what you're not good at, the best you can come up with is average. So let's say you're on 2/10, something you're not good at. You end up working yourself hard to 5/10, and you still average.
Yeah,
And no one pays for average. But when you work on your strength, what you're good at, let's say you're on 6/10. So you can take 2 or 3 steps up, and that will bring you to a very more unique phase. So now you realized on back end when you reflect that, oh wow, so I've actually been playing this role as the firstborn of the house, which has a lot of responsibility. And but it was when you at a latter stage of your life of recent that awareness down on you. So what did you do about it? When you find out, when you discover that, when you become more aware of that leadership potential, so how did you begin to develop the leader within you? Thank
yeah.
you.
I like that. So self-awareness, I'm so glad you talked about self-awareness because self-awareness is key.
Yeah.
And being self-aware was like ice cream. I'm not, it's like being in a candy store and just eating all the candy
Mm,
because again, it just opens this whole new world to you. So
mm,
when I now became aware of the fact that, okay, I can learn this, all these people who are functioning as quote unquote leaders are not
mm,
different from me. Like my mom would
mm,
say when I was growing up, they don't have two heads. They just God created them just like He created me.
mm,
I did what I would call a SWOT analysis.
mm,
And we use that term in business. And SWOT is what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats. And I
mm,
love it because you could do this for yourself personally, and you can also
mm,
do it professionally on your
mm,
job. And so I looked at my weaknesses and then I identified people who could. So, for example, at work, I'm not good at, let's say, I'm not good at writing emails to certain people or doing certain things. I realized that I could delegate that, and
mm.
John Maxwell talks about that in developing that I could delegate that to somebody else, and
Yeah.
then I took all kind of different tests and discovered my strengths. And
Mm,
so I'm leaning into my strengths. So
mm,
I'm very good, and you've told me about that. I'm very good at being able to look at processes,
mm,
identifying processes, identifying gaps in processes. I'm
mm,
a C personality on the desk.
mm.
So just being able to, what are my strengths? What excites me?
Mm,
What can I do with, like, if somebody said, BC, I won't even pay you for doing this, but what is that thing that I would do that
mm,
just makes me happy? And I could even
mm,
do, as they say, in my sleep. So
mm,
I became very aware and very conscious of that. And it's put me in a better place. I'm a happy person. I have like a peace
mm,
because I'm not trying to attain something or reach for this almost impossible dream.
mm,
There's everything is realistic. There's a reality to what
mm.
I'm doing.
Yeah, no,
It
and I
isn't
really appreciate,
perfect.
yeah, I appreciate the SWOT analysis that you talk about. But the question is, how did you begin to develop that leadership potential in you? What did you do? Because I'm very big about development, and I want people to hear that part. The first step is, of course, is awareness, because
Yeah.
awareness is the first key to change. And now,
Mhm.
when we become aware, we need to
What do we
accept
do?
responsibility and to create that positive change. So, how did you really begin to develop the leader within you? Thank you.
So what I've done over the past year and a half, almost 2 years, I just developed a roadmap as to where I want to go. I developed a
Mm,
roadmap, and I decided. So I wrote down my goals. What are my goals? And I decided. I joined the John Maxwell team. I
mm.
went for the conference in, I think it was February last year,
Yeah,
August.
Orlando, yeah,
Yeah, so
Florida.
I did that. And I joined the John Maxwell
Mm.
Facebook page.
Page, private pages.
And that's how
Okay.
I met you. And you reached out to me, invited me to masterminds. I started going to those masterminds. You
Mm,
encouraged me to start doing my own masterminds. So I started
mm,
scheduling my own masterminds. And
mm,
as I mentioned to you, I started teaching other people what I'd
mm,
learned. Was I afraid? Yes,
mm,
sir.
mm,
I was
mm,
afraid. And you would say, Dr. B, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So
mm,
just stepping out in spite of my fear, but just
mm,
doing taking those tiny baby steps. Like I like
mm,
to put it, putting one foot in front of the other.
mm,
And
mm,
then reading books. Like right now here, I've done this book before, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, if it'll show
mm,
up. I've decided I'm going to read it again before the end of the year. I'll read a
mm.
chapter every day.
That's
So
good.
just being intentional about your growth. It's like when you
Mm,
plant a seed, you have to water that seed
yeah.
for it to grow, or else it's
Mm,
just going to stay in the ground. So
mm,
just being intentional, having a game plan and working the plan, having
mm,
people around you who talking about your environment, who are there to encourage you, to cheer you on. I have an accountability partner who I met through you, who has
mm.
done a lot in my life. Dr.
I know.
Adenuga, who I meet
Mm.
with every Tuesday at 3 p.m. without fail.
That was awesome. And I really love the what you just shared. And let me just analyze and recap, because there's so much that you talked about that I
Unpack, I
want.
know.
Yeah, I want to unpack it. I want to unpack it. You talk about after you become aware of that leadership potential. You join a growth environment, which is the Maxwell leadership team. And I want people to be aware of that, because there's something about environment. You can either be a potted plant or a planted plant.
That's good.
A potted plant is a plant in a pot, which is limited by the capacity to grow. A planted plant is a plant in the right environment. Somebody went to a garden, he saw a gardener, and the gardener has a lot of potted plants, which, of course, they want to sell it. He now asked the gardener, he said, "How old is this potted plant?" He said, "Oh, they're like 3 to 5 years old." So he now saw some trees that were already growing, bringing out fruits. He now said, "How old is this tree?" He said, "It's the same age as the potted plant." He said, "Wow, that was a contrast. The potted plant is yet to bear fruit because it doesn't have the room to grow. Even though the potential for growth is there." It's just the same analogy like we have about a shark that was put in a fish tank. The shark can only grow for 8 inches. But when that same shark is taken and put in the right environment, which is an ocean, it grows for more than 8 feet. And this is why the law of growth says growth only thrive in a conducive environment. And what's
Yeah.
our environment? Because people hear us all over the world. We're not just talking about changing geographical location. We're talking about
Exactly.
the people that you surround yourself with. One of my reflections today on code, because I love to consume code, to incubate codes, and from my reading books I like to look for codes. So one of the code that stood out to me today is from a man called T.F. Och. He said, what surrounds us is what is within us. So that means the thing that you surround
Wow, that's
yourself with
powerful.
is an expression of what you have within. That
Yeah,
means the people
exactly.
that you have around your life right now is a product of your internal environment.
Exactly. My mom used to say, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. And then she
Exactly.
would
And
look
she's
like,
so
whoop,
right.
whoop, whoop.
Exactly. And that's what you did. You identify, because one thing leads to another. You identify a growth environment, which is the Maxwell Leadership Team, and you join it. That was where I found you. I found you in
Exactly.
that growth
And it's been
environment.
amazing. It's been
And,
amazing.
and it leads to a new level of relationship that
Yeah,
has led to a new level of expansion and growth.
networks.
Exactly. And the thing I like about you is that you are not just in that environment. You were growing, you were doing something, you were taking action. And you said something that, am I afraid when I did it? But you still take action, because
Yeah,
action is the key to fear.
yeah,
And that was the thing about it. But the thing I want people to hear is this. You invested in yourself by joining the Maxwell leadership. That took a lot of investment. It took
yeah.
some
It costs
investment
money.
of time, investment of money, investment of so many efforts. And you not even joined the mentorship. You went to another level. You were investing in your personal coaching, personal development. And I want people to hear this, because whenever you see a leader, there's so much more behind it. You see the glory, you don't hear the story. So we just
Exactly.
talk about she became aware of her leadership potential, then she joined a growth environment and she began to pay the price. Another thing that you mentioned is you started reading books. Because a lot of people, after they left schooling, schooling has left them. But schooling should be a lifetime
Every
thing.
lifetime, yeah.
Benjamin Franklin has 2 years of formal education between age 8 to 10. And he started learning trade. He joined as a printer, but he began to have a voracious appetite for reading. And that man was self-taught. Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes you unfit to be a slave.
That's
And that's
good.
what you were doing. So you begin to develop yourself. You begin to develop yourself. You begin to form accountability partnership. You begin to put yourself in a real right growth program. So tell us what has that done to you personally as a leader? Because there's something called the learning curve. You really get into this journey of development. I mean, in less than 2 years, look at what has happened to
I
you.
know, and
Can
I'm
you
very
tell
happy
people
too.
that can you share with people that are thinking about, oh wow, is there hope for me? I'm like more than 50, I'm more than 60, and can I still catch up? Can you just speak
Well,
to that group of
let me
people that are
tell you,
like,
let me brag on myself. I am 63 years young. So which means this journey started after I was 60, after
hmm,
I turned 60. And no, there's no limit to
hmm,
learning.
hmm,
My mom is 86. I talk about her
hmm,
a lot. My mom is 86. She's a retired nurse, but she's kept up her New York State license because she said, I
hmm,
don't want to let it go. So if my mom at 86 is still learning, what
hmm,
excuse do I have? But
hmm,
I want to share a story.
hmm.
As you were speaking, I just thought about this.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I'm originally from Nigeria. I went to Nigeria, and my best friend was the provost at the time. She's since stepped down from that position. She was the provost of the College of Medicine.
Hmm,
And I would watch her just walk up at this on the stage and speak fearlessly, eloquently.
hmm,
And I used to say to myself, gosh, how does she do it? I even asked her, I said, how do you do it? She said, well, you just get used to doing it.
Hmm.
And I always had that fear. Recently, I was appointed as the chair of alumni sponsorship program, scholarship program for students.
Hmm.
And I've had to do a lot of appearances, had to speak
Hmm.
publicly, had to, like I'm doing now today, speak on this podcast.
Hmm.
Was a little swing of fear? Yes. But because I've paid the price and because I've
Hmm.
put in the work, I noticed that along with that work has come the confidence.
Yeah.
It's not cockiness, but I have the confidence, I
Hmm.
have the knowledge, I have the presence.
Hmm.
It's built resilience in me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've learned how to speak with people,
Hmm.
and it's an ongoing work.
Yeah.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, it's not that I don't feel
Hmm.
a kind of way, as the kids would say sometimes,
Hmm.
but it's really, really changed me. You met one of my friends, Paula. She
Hmm.
has a TV show called Chatting with the Experts. And
Hmm.
every time she sees me, she'll say, BC, you've grown so
Hmm.
much. You've
Hmm.
changed so much. So even the people around me, my family and my friends,
Hmm.
have seen the difference.
Hmm.
And that's when you know that whatever you're doing is working. So just
Yeah.
do it. Like
Yeah.
that Nike slogan says,
So yeah. Yeah.
just
Really.
step out. If you don't
Yeah.
do it, you will never know. And if you don't do it, it'll
Hmm.
never happen. So just
Yeah.
get out there and do it. Do it
Wow,
afraid.
that's awesome. And I really like the way you really encourage people because a lot of people think that their hope for me that, oh, am I? And I'm just starting late. But listen, there are two times to grow a tree. You can grow a tree 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So it is
Yes,
not too
exactly.
late because look at that. She just started less than 2 years.
Yes.
And I knew how much she has grown.
Mhm.
And at times we did not even know how much progress we have made. But people around us know it.
Exactly.
They can sense it. For people that really know you, begin to tell you you've grown. Just like me now. I wrote my first two books when I was in medical school. Then in the past 16 months, I've done 9 books. So when people are looking at me, oh, to me it's like, what am I doing? Because to me it's just normal. Because the reason is just like I realize that because I'm growing, and anytime I'm done with a book, my focus is on another one, another one. How do I do another one? Because don't forget, we mentioned potential because potential talks about what you can do that you are yet to do. So I want to listen. So as you listen to us today, I want to know that leadership is for everyone. It is for you too. And Dr. B, I want to speak to this leadership is for everyone concept because you are in corporate organization right now. And I believe a lot of people would just think that, well, I don't have a title as a leader. I'm not the director of administration. I am not this. I'm not even medical director like Dr. B. And am I a leader? Is it really true? I'm just a, I'm just a, someone said, I'm just a fly on the wall. How
Yeah.
can I be a leader? Can you just speak to them and let
Been
them
there,
see?
done that, wore that t-shirt, first of all.
Mm,
And I am, before everything else, although my
mm,
son is an adult, I'm a mom.
mm,
And my son is an adult, he's married. But even in that, I'm a leader.
mm,
And I didn't realize that before because John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, but I influence him. I've even before this,
mm,
before John Maxwell, before growing and having the light bulb come on, I would just say, oh, this is what you need to do.
mm,
I wanted to exert my authority because that's the
mm,
way I was raised to. I told you
mm,
to do this, you do it, you're
mm.
still my child.
Yeah.
Fast forward now.
Mm,
I listen to my son.
mm,
I have him share ideas. I share back. I add
mm.
value to him. He adds value to me.
Yeah.
When we don't agree, that feedback mechanism is
Mm.
still working in a positive way.
Yeah.
It's not toxic.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
that is what leadership is about. And
Mm.
I think sometimes we overthink it.
Mm. Yeah.
So you can, no matter who you are, the
Mm.
people you have family members.
Yeah.
So how do you lead them?
Mm.
How are you leading them? Because one person who's even an introvert influences about 10,000 people. So
Mm.
you are influencing people every day
Yeah.
by the way you show up, your
Yeah.
body language,
Yeah.
your
Mm.
nonverbal cues,
Mm.
the things you the things you do.
Mm.
People actually learn more from watching you. That's how children learn than
Yeah.
from what you actually say.
That's true. Yeah.
So I would say to the listening audience, who are you? And then from that framework, begin to see yourself as, okay, at home, at work, wherever
Mm.
I show up,
Yeah. Mm.
things are happening.
That's good.
Every space I'm in, I'm
Mm.
leading. Whether I
Yeah.
have a title or not, I'm leading.
Mm.
Even if I go
Mm.
put my back against that wall, I'm leading
Mm.
because somebody's
Mm.
watching me.
Wow. And I like what you just said now, whether I have a title or not. One of the book I'm reading now is called The Leader Who Had
I
No
know.
Title.
Oh, Robin Sharma, I
It's
love
a
the book.
beautiful. I want to recommend this book to everyone. It's one
Yeah,
of the
I love
book.
Robin Sharma.
I'm reading 10 books. That's one of the 10 books I'm reading now. It's such a beautiful, and the way he wrote the book, he wrote it in form of a story.
Mhm.
It's so interesting that you don't want to put it down. It's just like a page turner, a page turner. And Dr. B, quickly tell us, how has mentorship impacted your life? Because the reason why we always in this podcast is Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. We all like to highlight the importance of mentorship. I'm so passionate about that my new book on the mentorship advantage, why mentorship really matters, is coming out this month. Because a lot of people just think that, I used to think like that, oh well, having a mentor is not for everyone, it's just a luxury, and it's an option. And I learned the hard way. I shared all my story in that book. I went into business without mentorship. My fingers got burnt. It was a real experience for me. But when I joined the Maxwell Leadership, and I have that privilege of, after the certification, I jump into mentorship. And I have some mentors that took me by the hand, and people like Yannick Hicks, and we have a lot of mentors, Chris Robinson, we have Deb Ingino, and Miss Elizabeth. I mean, my comic, that's so much great people like Valerie Burton, McCall, people that have poured, and Roddy Gebret. So much, opportunity for mentorship that has really transformed my life. Yannick has really impacted me a lot, So I knew what that has done to me, and it has been an accelerator to me. So tell us, what impact has mentorship been on your life? Thank you.
I love the word that you just used, accelerator, because I
Mm.
was actually looking for it. The course that we taught for 5 weeks is called Leadership Accelerator 101. At the
Woo!
end of that course, yes, this morning I actually posted, and that's what I was looking for. I advised everyone to get an accountability partner and a
Mm,
mentor. And
mm,
this is what I said to them. I said, a mentor provides guidance, experience, and insights to help you develop professionally.
mm,
And then I went on and on about how, and just to go back to what it's done for me, having a mentor helps, it actually 10x's your journey.
mm,
So instead of you, like, let's say you start at point A, and that's what's happened to me. Instead
mm,
of going like this, what
mm.
it's done is like a rocket. It's
Wow.
shot me up.
Mm, mm,
It's really, I
mm.
really feel like somebody put me in one of those, those things they used to, those rockets things,
Yeah,
propellers, and just shut me out.
like a catalyst, yeah.
Look, that's what mentorship has done for me. So I don't have to make the same mistakes
Mm,
that somebody's already gone ahead of me and paved
yeah.
the way.
Mm,
I don't have to make the mistakes.
mm,
Whenever I have a a speech or something that I need to do, I run it. You're
mm,
my mentor.
mm,
I run it by you, and you give
mm,
me advice and feedback.
mm, mm.
They serve as an encourager,
Yeah. Yeah.
which you've done. So it's
Mm,
just the encouragement. It's helped to build
mm,
resilience in me. It's helped me to be able to, um, you know how like a child, if a
mm,
child was on this table
Mm.
and it would say, jump, jump, jump down. Daddy's going to catch you.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
the child would jump because
Mm.
they trust daddy.
Mm.
That's what I feel mentorship has done for me. It's
Wow.
given me the ability to jump down
Mm.
or jump off the ledge
Wow.
because I
That's
trust that
awesome.
daddy or mommy,
Mm.
whoever that mentor is going to catch
Mm.
me. And that's
Wow.
really the only way I can explain it.
Wow. In fact, Dr. B, this today has been so very enlightening. I mean, it was beyond my widest expectation because you were just kind of coming up with great substance and people have been listening to this podcast and say, oh, how can I connect with this woman? I know where to find you. I can go to where you are and get you out. But how can people find you and people that just listen to you that I just love this woman. I just love this woman. I want her to be my mentor. I want her to speak for us. How can people find you? Can you tell them where they can locate you, please?
Yes. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, but I'm going to give you my LinkedIn information because I'm really building my LinkedIn page. And it's just go to Olabisi, Olabisi, Oshikanlu, Oshikanlu, MD, FAAP. And once you put Olabisi Oshikanlu, MD, FAAP, yours truly's
Mm,
information and image,
mm,
and then you can just DM me
mm.
from there.
Wow, this has been a great podcast and time. And we really appreciate your time and despite your busy schedule, for you to make yourself available because availability requires intentionality. Thank you for being part of the Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. So, viewers, before we
Thank
come your
you.
way with another great speaker, another great leader, don't forget, it's not enough to learn, make sure you apply because better than learning is application. See you next time. Signing off, Dr. Michael Koku. Yeah. Bye bye. Yeah.